Good morning, everybody. SoCalsabre here. And today we're going to take a little look at Our God Was My Shield. I was going to try to play some rounds for some turns with you, but this game turned out to be a little bit difficult to play solo. Most games, two-player games, I can play relatively easily, fairly easily on the solo mode. But this one I've had my problems with. But I wanted to show you this before I take it down because it is a good game. I just have to find somebody to come over and play it with me. But, some of you people that may be interested in it, this is from Hollandspiele. And, well, let me get down to showing you some things. The history of it was it's 1862. General Stonewall Jackson was out here in this is called his Valley Campaign. This is the Shenandoah Valley, which is, I forget which way they go, but they're bordered on the east and west by mountain ranges. As you can see in the charts here, we've got mountain ranges. And he was in here, and his primary objective was to distract the Union. The Union sent banks in. They came in from Harper's Ferry up here, and they came in here. It was a defensive type of effort to try to keep the Confederates from marching up through there and going into Harrisburg and Washington. But also, they were tasked with protecting the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad. This is probably it running down through here or over here. But because it had received a lot of attacks and damage and repairing the areas and everything. So this is an operational type game. It's the first in the series of games that's going to be produced. I'll show you the rule books. This is going to be a Civil War operational series. So there's one rule book to cover the general of the series, and then there will be another rule book for each game in the series. I found it a little bit difficult learning this way because I had to refer back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. But I guess once, if you're going to be into the series, learning this operational one is a big thing to help you with the other games and everything. I don't know if I'll be into the series or not. This is the first one. There's no other ones that come with it. There's no other ones that have been published yet. But, well, time will tell. We'll wait and see. You also get a nice player aid, which is a terrain chart, which covers whether it's in mud or rain or standard, and then also combat. Because every turn you roll for a die, and it could be mud, which slows everything down. Movement costs and everything are more important, are more costly. And then there's a whole bunch of little things for different portions of the game. Okay, in the game, you can see there's not a lot of counters on this. There are very few counters, as a matter of fact. And this is about it. There are a couple more out on the side, but maybe 2 or 3 for each side. So as you can see, it is not very counter intensive. So this whole campaign was kind of like flanking and moving and everything, and that's why I found it a little bit difficult. I think playing with 2 players will be a lot more fun because you have some things, you have some hidden things. I'll show you. Each side has a set of cards that the player can use, during the game and at certain points in the game, and that can really change the other player's strategy. Like this one here is never interrupt your enemy. It says play at the beginning of the game turn. The U.S. player goes first this turn only. If the U.S. player also sees the initiative, both players roll a die and the high roller uses their card. So there's a lot of things that could happen. I tried to incorporate this into like a fog of war type thing, but it didn't really work too well. And I think it's because of the how spread out all of the things are. Over here on the right side, you have a casualty table. You have your combat results table. You have a sub-tables here. Then you have your turn tracker. And down here you have your rain and mud table. Okay, and on the opposite side is just the reproduction of this port for the other player. I should show you some things. So, you know, if you're looking for a war game with a lot of battles in it, this may not be the way to go. As you can see, it's for the campaign driven. You're going to be going up damage. You're going to be chasing. So I don't know if I can ever catch anybody. Like down here, this Milroy started off in here. So the first thing I did was I moved Jackson and Johnson down in here to attack Milroy. Well, there's a thing in this game that's not in a lot of war games, and it's called retreat before combat. So Milroy, this has happened a lot in the Civil War. I don't think you're seeing this. You're not. I'll move it up here just a little bit just to show. Don't disregard this mountain range here. So, outnumbered by strength points, because Milroy over here, I'll show you these charts in a minute, Milroy has a strength point of 2. Well, Jackson has Johnson with him and his infantry. So that's a strength of 4. So he's outnumbered 2 to 1. So they have this thing called retreat before combat. You roll a die, and if you're successful, you can retreat. Say, if it was down here, that would have been one of these spaces. You can retreat before combat. And so the combat is avoided. So that's what happened over here. And I didn't want to chase him. So I came back out in there. You have one die that comes with it. I think it's appropriate that I show you one of these side charts here. And there's one on each side. I want to pick it up because it has counters on it. This is your strength points and how you track strength points instead of having multiple counters and flipping them over for expended or used and so forth. You use your transfer like Jackson has, and this tells their strength point. Jackson has 2 strength point, his infantry, all by himself. There's a little picture of an infantry guy there. But in this particular battle, he also has Johnson with him. Okay, and Johnson has 2, so that's where he got the 4 from. Cavalry really don't have a lot of points with their in there. There's some things that they do get points for. Then down here, you have your victory point channel. Victory points can be won by taking certain places on the map. I was still studying some of that, how to mark these things to remember which ones are the victory point ones. Cities and so forth and points. But down there also in the commands, this down here in this part, this says Major General Thomas J. Jackson may command Jackson detached, Jackson cavalry, and any Confederate unit. So he's got control over them. You know, Major General Richard Ewell has is in charge of Ewell Detachment and Ewell Cavalry. And Colonel Turner Ashby Jr. can command any Confederate cavalry. When I say by command also, that, you know, like Jackson, I'll put him back up here again. Jackson's commanded here. Okay, so you're looking down here. Say Johnson is 2 movement points. Okay, Johnson can move without Jackson. And then we'll say that Jackson's infantry moves, but you know that they'll be with him. Maybe he's staying back out of the way. Now we'll just do it this way. Okay, Johnson moved without Jackson. Now, he can move, but he cannot attack unless he's stacked with this guy, Commander. So he has to be in Jackson's hex to be able to attack. And it's really, you know, it's a pretty plain map, but it's a nice map. It shows the rivers, it shows the railroads, the mountains. These mountains are really tough here, but occasionally there's a mountain crossing, but that costs extra to try to get across these places. So if you're trying to move to help somebody else out, you got to get across these mountains. It's pretty tough. I don't know what else I can tell you about this, because you know, with my, as you saw my wrap up, I have the gaming marathon coming up on November 6th, and I have to clear, the tables will be cleared for that. So I'll be taking this one down. Not that I didn't like the game. I do like the game, but like I said, to me, this one here really will shine with 2 players, using the cards and the surprises and so forth like that. So I hope you like this. Go down there and hit that like button. Push it out into your social media channels. Subscribe if you haven't done so yet. This was Our God Was My Shield by Hollandspiele. This is SoCalsabre saying, take care of yourselves, be kind to each other, and stay safe.